Am I on? I'm on. Well, welcome. I'm Terry Connell. I've had the pleasure of meeting with you a couple times already. This is building a better strategic plan, building a strategic plan. Some assembly required. It is not as bad as IKEA furniture. I think it'll be a little bit easier than that. So hopefully I can give you the tools necessary for strategic plans. So I'm going to get started because I can talk a lot. Okay, so raise your hand if you've ever built a house from the ground up. Nobody here? A couple people? Oh, there you go. A Lego one. Could be a Lego one. Okay, there you go. All right. What went well in your planning? Did everything go perfectly? It's great. I was quality control for my son and his Lego building. He's looking for that one piece that who knows where it went. Okay. What was challenging? Think about that. Think about what was challenging in building even a Lego thing. What you needed. You needed that piece of paper that came with it. Unless you were a free spirit and you just went rogue and just built your own house. But my son was one that he wanted it to look exactly like that. So we are going to look at this. So this is what we're going to cover, and there'll be a quiz at the end. No, this is my army. You give what you tell the people what you're going to tell them. It's kind of like the nightly news. They tell you at the beginning what they're going to be doing. So here's the thing. If you see there's an analogy here, there isn't. I mean, there's like I'm using building a house to building this strategic plan. The first thing that you need to do is you need to go back and look at the blueprints that you have to build it. All of you on Civicor, under your chapter is your vision statement. It's there. It's a tab. It says vision statement. You can see all of your vision statements. Your last one a lot of people's were 2017 was the last one, and their strat plan was due in 2020, and we all know what happened there. Okay? So they didn't happen. When was your last strategic plan? Every strategic plan should be under your chapter, under documents, and it should be there. But as the Iowa coordinator, I went to look to see on all of my strategic plans and when they were due. They're not always listed very well. They're sometimes in some minutes that they put in there. So it should say when your last strategic plan was. It may not, but that's okay because we can make new blueprints. We can look at them. But first of all, look and see what you had. Why reinvent the wheel? And in the old days, strategic plans were done by central office. Suzanne Hintz would come in. I think Sarah Waldman came in. Beth Roberts might have come in. Maybe even Des Moines came in and did a strategic plan. Since he's been back, I think we've done 3 strategic plans. That's all we've done because we wanted to get a good understanding of where our chapters were and where our programs were. So right now, the first thing you got to do is see what you got. Do you have any blueprints? Do you have anything to go off of? Now, Teammates is going to give you a foundation. And if you recall yesterday, Des Moines went through and said, guess what? We've had our own strategic plan meeting. We did that in the spring, and we retooled things. We went from numbers, and we're getting away from numbers. So right now it says our vision is, and this is the foundation for your strategic plan, is to the core values, same core values, and we're going to add, you don't really need core values in your strategic plan. We'd like you to use our core values. So certainly commitment to students. Remember, we're going to change that. Safety, integrity, and trust, inclusion, and we're going to add strengths-based. Our vision for the foundation is to be the nation's premier school-based mentoring program by creating a culture of hope that leads to a positive ripple effect in our communities and beyond. Our mission is not changing, except we've changed youth to inspiring students. So to positively impact the world by inspiring students to reach their full potential through mentoring. So that's what we have. We're giving you that. Now, under construction means right now our strategic initiatives, which are quality engagement, impact and brand awareness, and organizations sustainability, we haven't given you those yet because we are developing those right now. So this is the foundation that we would like you to use, because I'm going to tell you, we cannot reach our strategic goals if you don't reach yours. I mean, it kind of works its way up. I mean, you don't have to have the exact same ones, and you know your community, but certainly look and see. That's at least a foundation to start with, right? All right, so now we're building, we're continuing to build the house. You got to pick the right crew, okay? If you get a contractor that's not bona fide or doesn't know what they're doing, you're going to have a really hard time in building this, right? So certainly your regional coordinators, they're going to be your contractor right now. They're going to be there. We haven't decided how that's going to look, but we're going to be a part of that because we want to be a part of that. We want to know you guys. Now we're not leading that. We're not the general contractor. We're just a person that's there to help you. Your program coordinator, that's essential to be there. The board members on there. School representatives. If you're going to have a strategic plan in a school district, wouldn't it be great if you had somebody from the school district that's on that can say, oh, we can support you in this, or we're going to support your goals too here in our district. Community leaders. See if you can get the mayor, some school board people. What about some people that might, let's say if financial sustainability is something that you want, wouldn't it be nice to have somebody from the community that has a little money, that might give you a grant, that might support you? Maybe you've got some organizations that are supporting you. Would it be nice, and I'm going to use Skylar just because United Way, you have a partnership with United Way. Wouldn't it be good if someone from United Way was on your strategic plan? Because they have financial, they're giving you some financial support. Have you thought about having a mentor? Now, granted, we as program coordinators, I was a mentor. Your board are mentors, but wouldn't it be nice to have a mentor? Somebody on your strategic plan that could give different perspective. The last one, and on one thing I had question marks, I think it's on my notes. Do you want a mentee on there? Maybe a high school mentee, maybe a senior that might be able to give you some insight into what teammates has meant to them and what could they bring. You don't have to have it, but these are just people that could be on your crew. We did one in Elkhorn, and there was probably, maybe 15 to 20 people that sat in on that strategic plan from all different areas. So it gave a little bit different perspective. I know sometimes less is more, but I think the community. So that's what you have. Your community. I'm not going to tell you who should be on your crew. Certainly people that don't derail the project. Sometimes you get some people on there and they have their own agenda, or they're like, whoo, I'm going this way. Nope, let's bring you back. Nope, we got these blueprints and we built the foundation. So the people, we all have them in the community that come into your board meetings or whatever, and then are derailing the project. So you need to make sure you have the right people on your crew. I guess I could do this. Why am I doing that? Okay, so again, in keeping with my theme, get your tools together. Find your former strategic plans. We did less and less. Maybe that's something on your strategic plan that you want to work on retention, like keeping them longer. So that dashboard, you can make data say whatever you want. Let's be real. Okay. You can, and like, it's like, oh my gosh, well, we didn't meet all during COVID, so that's a bad year. That's an asterisk year. But at least you can say, you can see trends on that. Brianna and I from Sioux Falls, we're always talking about how you can manipulate data. Like it could change, and the way that she looks at it and I look at it could be two different things. So you need your chapter bylaws, which if you were in my last session, we are in the process of putting them on Civicor. They're going to be in the document tab in Civicor. They're not there yet. So you'll go to your chapter but you need to look at the bylaws because that's kind of your guide. So if you're going to use it for strategic plan, you're going to need to see what your bylaws say too, and make sure that you're within there. And then I don't know, but it's either checklist or checklist on that strat plan. Obviously, it was by the letter, and I had to pay more for the tea. Yeah, I just noticed that today. So listen, do we have that strat plan checklist? No, we do not. I think that's probably one thing I'm going to be doing with my regional coordinator team before we go out. And I'm a checklist kind of person. 1, do this. 2, do this. 3, do this. So we will be getting that out. But right now, I don't want you to dwell on strat plans right now because I want you to get the matches meeting. That's your top priority right now. That's everybody's top priority. Strat plan, we are not going to say you're not a chapter anymore because you don't have a strat plan, because that's 180 some chapters that we would lose at that point. So this, make sure that you have everything, because when you go into that meeting, you want it to be efficient. You don't want to be horsing around. Does anybody have the bylaws? What did our last strat plan say? You need to be prepared. So here's your timeline. I think you need to at some point schedule a meeting, but again, that needs to be with your regional coordinator because I want them to be there. And you need to set it more than like, hey, next week we're going to have our strat plan. That's not going to work. So me personally, if I was the program coordinator right now, I would schedule it no sooner than the end of October into November. Maybe I would wait until January, but you need to get all the things together that you need. And we want, especially we have some new regional coordinators, we want them to get to know you guys before they come in and start talking with you. Send out an agenda. Tell your crew what they need to bring. As I said in the last one, food is always good for any meeting that you have. I did a strat plan, and Des Moines and I went out there, and they had the most wonderful soups for us. And so people were well fed, but don't feed them too much because then they'll go to sleep. But so they combine that with, sometimes they do it with a regular board meeting, maybe. And then 1 to 2 hours, and that's even stretching it. That's a lot. But if you really want to have a successful meeting, you've got to have a little time. So put your lunch in there, have a dessert halfway through. I told the last group the average adult attention span is now 20 minutes. So you might have to have some brain breaks in there for those educators that know what a brain break is. And then after your meeting, submit your strategic plan and your minutes and whatever you have to your regional coordinator. We'll look at them, and we will, whether they know it or not, but we will put them on. We will put them on Civicor for you. I mean, you could do that, but we want to look at them. We want to look at them first, because here's the thing: if you have a strategic plan, then we want to support you. If one of your strategic plans is recruiting, then we need to get Hannah or David out to help with that recruiting and to help you set up an action plan. Now, one of the things we've had trouble with lately is getting into the weeds at these action plans or at the strategic plans, where people are so worried about one little word that it derails everything because they've got a dry erase board and they keep changing it. No, I really think it needs to say this. No, it needs to say that. That they lose the fact that marketing is the most important thing right now that they're talking about because they're worried about changing happy to glad or something like that. So you got to make sure that that's why that agenda is very important in planning that out. We can help you. We can help you plan it. I keep forgetting I have this little clicker. So start building. So once you get in and you do your strategic plan and you come up with a vision, if that's the way you want to start, we sometimes we make a vision statement and we say, in the old days it was like to have 500 matches with 24 meetings or more by 2025. Does that sound familiar for some of your vision statements? We've added different things on there over the years, but numbers were always an important thing. So they spend so much time doing the vision statement that they don't have a plan to implement it. That's the most important part of a strategic plan, wouldn't you think? Like, how am I going to do that now? Like, well, and that might be another meeting. That might be the next meeting that you have, is coming up with an action plan. So actually, in Civicor, in the old days, we used to do action plans every spring, and the regional coordinator would come out with sometimes the board would be there. I did it with sometimes it's my arranger and maximizer, you guys. I would do the action plan before the regional coordinator got there. But on we have not done them for a few years. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that Jen was in here too. We have another regional coordinator hiding. She's snuck in the back. So we have the Western Regional Coordinator, Western and Wyoming. But there is actually on Civicor, you could get out the action plan that's there, and it breaks it down. Do you want to work on training? Do you want to work on recruiting? Do you want to work on, mine always every year was how to close a match, because I was the worst person in closing a match. But there is actually a form on there that you could look at action plan, or just say, how are we going to do this? If marketing is really important and branding, and I'm going to use Iowa as an example just because Go Big Red, Nebraska, Tom Osborne, it's not like their top priority in Iowa, okay? They have other coaches, and they did much better than us this year. So branding in Iowa might be a big thing, and getting that out. Moravia, is Tom Osborne a big thing down? Okay, they don't know. And so, yeah, okay, there you go. Okay. So she was saying that it is not a top priority in Moravia. A nice town down there. Okay, so marketing in Iowa might be a priority, and so then that's where your action plan is going to be. How are we going to market in Iowa and in that area? And so then, who do you need? Part of an action plan is, who do you need? Because it is a document, but it's a working document. You got to use it. You can't just, we've all done this. Oh, we had a strat plan. Here's our vision. It goes into the documents and it's never looked at again. I know, you're shaking heads. You've been there. And you know, John was a superintendent. How many times do you spend a whole week working on a strat plan, and then it's like, okay, it's done for another. Yep. Okay, we don't want that. We want this to be a working document. So revisit your vision statement every year. You do not need a new strat plan to make a new vision statement. You can change your vision statement. We in Millard did it every year. At the beginning of the year, we looked at our vision statement. Maybe we accomplished it, maybe we didn't. But then we made another one, and our vision statements were only for 1 year. So you can relook at them. Now we're in an organization like us, we're setting out for 3 years. But who's to say that you can't change your vision statement every year? And then, unfortunately, I will be long gone by then. In 3 more years, you need to do this all over again. Oh, Jen's saying no. But you're going to have to do it. We want them every 3 years. Tiffany. Okay, so Tiffany was saying that put it on your agenda, and it is on the top of my, in Millard, it is on the top of the agenda. So you saw it. You saw it every single, you saw it every single time you looked at it. That's what we're here for. So yeah, did I get that? Because I don't think they hear that unless I say it. Okay, so I know it seems like, gosh, I'm going to rebuild a house every year. No, because maybe not, because this is what I'm saying. You got to put the finishing touches on. And my big thing is retooling the verbiage. I'm telling you, you guys can be caught in the weeds for one preposition that you're trying to change on this. Don't get into the weeds on that. But if you're done, you might make it sound pretty. And I'm going to tell you. So we did the strategic plan for teammates in the spring, and I think they did a Wordle type thing where like the words that got said the most during that became the biggest words. Have you ever done that? Like, okay, so trust was big. So that'll be part of our strategic plan. So once they got it to us as a staff, it didn't flow right. It just didn't feel right. But they'd gotten the heart of it, but then we had to look and say, okay, let's retool the verbiage on that to make it sound right. And then what ended up was the mission. We just said, we don't like any of these missions. We like the old mission. It's what we love, and it's why we do things. And so we scrapped that whole thing and just went with the mission that we've had for so many years that's worked for us. So, but wait, it's just like making a PowerPoint slide. You put the basics down, and then you get the foo-foo stuff. Like, I didn't get time for the music and the sound effects on this, but I put the pictures in last. Look at your numbers yearly. If you choose to use a number, go back and look at it. Every one of your strat plans, if you look now, had lofty goals, and then COVID hit. So then you feel like you're failing. Like, oh my gosh, I said we'd have 200 and we got 80. Okay, so you may not put numbers in at all, but if you do, look at them, and nobody's, okay, we're not going to slap your hands that you didn't make your vision or that you didn't, okay? So if you have to change it, change it. Things happen. Sydney, Nebraska, Cabela's closed. So their vision was a lot higher in their numbers. And so then they felt like they had failed. It wasn't their fault. Cabela's closed and they left, and all of their mentors went with them. So that's what we need to, it's a working document. It's not something you do put on the shelf and never look at and then think that I failed because I didn't reach it. First of all, make reachable goals. If you're going to put numbers on there, be realistic. Use, and then change it as needed. And of course, if you're going to change it, put your group back together, or part of it, your board, talk to regional coordinators, have your program. You got a new program coordinator. Maybe they want to see that. What's the vision? That's the first thing that you need to be showing your new people, your new board. Own it. Why do a document? Well, we had to do this, and they said 3 years, and the regional coordinator's nagging me, and we got to do this. No, own it. And if you're not feeling it, and if it's not time right now, say, you know what, can we put this off for a little bit? We've got a brand new board. We had 3 new board members, and we're going to get 8 more, and we really want to get the board settled, and then we can have some vision. Okay? But if you don't own it, the document is totally worthless. And if you've inherited a strategic plan that you don't believe in, then yeah, we need to get started on that. It's not going to be from the central office. It's going to be from you guys. It starts with you, and we're going to be there to help you facilitate, but it's your strategic initiatives and document. So that's all I have. I know you may have some questions, so if you'll ask the question and then I'll repeat it so they see it on the live streaming. What questions do we have about strategic plans? Any? Elena. Yes. The question was, is CivicCorps going to be on the Teammates website? We just have a new Teammates website, and there is going, you know how you used to, if you've been on before, there was like a little link. I just saw it, and they retooled it. Isn't it on the top? isn't it under, is it with staff or something? It's under contacts, I think, and it's Civicor. I think they just added it. It may move, but yes. Well, I dropped the hammer the hammer got dropped on me. That means it's almost time to go. Any other questions that we have? Like, yes, Brianna. Okay, she asked if there was any guidelines, like you need to have so much percentage of growth in a year or anything like that. No, this is your document. We're not saying, I mean, us personally, yes, I think that Hannah and I were talking, and she'd like that, it to increase 10%, I think is what she told all of you. But no, you know your community. We're down 25%ish across the board. I don't know what your community is. And some of that was graduation. I mean, but then we haven't recruited. So when you lose for graduation, then you can't make that up. So no, we're not coming in and saying that you have, this is your document. Any other questions? I think I'm down to a couple. Yes. Right. Right. And she was asking that we're saying numbers don't matter to us, but you're right. Quality or quantity, like how are you going to measure your success? Okay. So one of the things that we said was, okay, we want retention rates to go up. We do measure that. And, we could be doing surveys in other areas. We talked to Tori and say, like, how are we going to measure hope? Like, how do you measure hope? Well, there are surveys that can go out there. So there are other things to measure your success. One thing, if you want to increase marketing, one of the ways that you're measuring your marketing is maybe you're getting a lot more people in. Or people are saying, hey, I saw a teammates thing the other day, or I was at the football game and I saw this. So did I answer your question? We whatever. So I think the strategic plan is when it's best for you. We're just saying, as regional coordinators, we have so many new ones that for us to help you right now, this first semester, is probably, and I know you want to start your school year with your new vision and your new strategic plan. So if spring is the time that you want to do it, that's fine. It's just not a good time now for anybody in a school district, because it is right now you're going to get back from and you're going to get on Civicor. We're rolling up the grade levels. You got to put kids in the right school. You got to get the matches going. So it's probably not the best time right now to work on your strategic plan. Right. Okay. We're working on a template. We're going to work on a template. And Moravia has been, I came last fall and we started implementation. So they don't have one yet. So yeah, it's probably time after going through a whole school year that we probably need to. Okay. Well, your board can make a vision anytime. Your board, I trained your board. They got good vision. Well, I would love to talk later. So from here, you're going to go to your breakout session. Where you had it the last time. And I have cards, and you can always reach out to your regional coordinators, and we will give them the tools to help you. But I thank you all very much. Thank you.